Inter Miami just signed Casemiro, 5 Champions League titles, 3 La Liga crowns, 91 caps for Brazil, and instead of a clean announcement and a beach photo, they are under a league investigation. The complaint was filed by the LA Galaxy, David Beckham's old club, against David Beckham's current club, over a rule that exists because of David Beckham. Sit with that for a second. Here's the version for anyone who hasn't been following closely. Casemiro is one of the most decorated defensive midfielders in the history of European football. Think the guy whose entire job is to stop the other team's best player from doing anything fun. He won 5 UEFA Champions League titles with Real Madrid. Then Manchester United paid £70 million to bring him to England in 2022. He was still playing at the 2026 World Cup in July, starting for Brazil, putting in 425 minutes of tournament football. And then 17 days after Brazil lost 2-1 to Norway at MetLife Stadium and went home, Inter Miami announced he was theirs. That timeline matters. We'll come back to it. First, the rule. Major League Soccer, MLS, operates something called a discovery list, a confidential list that gives one club exclusive negotiating rights to a player before that player has even agreed to come to MLS. No other league in world soccer does this. In England, in Spain, in Germany, if a player is out of contract, any club can call them. The player is free. The market is open. Here, one MLS club can quietly discover a player, claim them in effect, and every other MLS club has to either buy those rights or back off. The rights are secret. The list is never published. You do not know who has been claimed until someone files a complaint. Part of why this system exists at all is because of how MLS is structured. It operates as a single entity, meaning the league itself technically owns all player contracts. That is fundamentally unlike any other major football league on earth. And it is why rules like the Discovery List can exist in the first place. The LA Galaxy had placed Casemiro on their Discovery List. Inter Miami, according to the complaint Galaxy filed with MLS, made contact with Casemiro before acquiring those priority rights. That is tampering under MLS rules. The league is now investigating, and MLS Commissioner Don Garber's office has confirmed the probe is active. The potential penalties per the MLS Constitution include fines up to $500,000, loss of draft picks, deduction of points in the standings, or disqualification from competitions. For a defending MLS Cup champion still in a title race, points deductions are not a small threat. But here's where it gets good. Inter Miami and the Galaxy have since reached a settlement. Miami paid whatever it took to acquire the Discovery priority retroactively, including, per sources familiar with the deal, a combination of fees and general allocation money, the league currency MLS clubs use to manage roster costs and buy out competing claims. And the signing went through anyway. Casemiro is an Inter Miami player. The probe continues, but the deal is done. So Miami completed the signing while under active investigation for completing the signing. That is a very specific kind of American energy, and we say that with complete affection. Now bring in the man whose name is on both sides of this mess. David Beckham co-owns Inter Miami. He built it. He is the reason the club exists. And on July 22nd, the day the signing was announced, he posted on Instagram, "Bem-vindo a Miami, meu amigo." Welcome to Miami, my friend. And called Casemiro a person and player I have admired for a long time. In the official club statement, he said he was very proud to welcome Casemiro and delighted that he's decided to make Miami his next home. No mention of the probe. No mention of Galaxy. Full celebratory mode. The thing is, Beckham's connection to both clubs here is not incidental. The designated player rule, the mechanism that allows MLS clubs to sign global stars outside the salary cap, the rule that made Messi's arrival possible, the rule that powers the entire modern MLS era of big-name signings, is nicknamed the Beckham Rule. It was created in 2007 specifically so that LA Galaxy could sign David Beckham. The man is structurally embedded in how this league operates. And now the Galaxy, the club that gave the rule its nickname, has filed a tampering complaint against the club owned by the man the rule is named after over a signing made using the framework the rule created. If you tried to pitch that as fiction, an editor would send it back. Now picture this through European eyes for a second. Across the Atlantic, the idea that you could be barred from speaking to a player with no club, no contract, and no current employer is genuinely alien. In England, the concept of tapping up, making illegal contact with another club's contracted player, exists and is taken seriously. But a free agent is a free agent. The market is open. The notion that Sporting Kansas City once held the discovery rights to Cristiano Ronaldo, meaning they had a legal claim on him before he'd agreed to come to America at all, is the kind of sentence that makes a European football fan do a full stop and stare. Sporting Kansas City, Cristiano Ronaldo, priority negotiating rights. All three in the same sentence. And it was real. That detail reframes everything. The discovery list is not an obscure technicality. It's a system that lets any MLS club plant a quiet flag on any player in world football and wait. It's part of what makes Major League Soccer genuinely unlike every other major league on earth. And it's the exact system now at the center of the Casemiro dispute. Back to that 17-day timeline. Brazil lost to Norway on July 5th. Casemiro played the full tournament, 425 minutes. The tampering allegation is that Inter Miami made contact before acquiring Galaxy's discovery priority. The investigation will determine exactly when that contact happened. If it overlapped with the World Cup, someone at Inter Miami was working a back channel while Casemiro was still in a Brazil shirt, still competing on the biggest stage in football. The Liga is, per its own statement, gathering all relevant information. The terms of the settlement between Miami and Galaxy will only be released once the investigation concludes, and Inter Miami has been here before. In 2022, MLS handed the club a $2 million fine, the stiffest in league history at the time, along with over $2 million in reduced allocation money for violations of salary budget and roster regulations. This is not a club with a spotless compliance record. That context doesn't determine guilt here, but it does mean the league's investigators are not arriving fresh. Casemiro, for his part, said in his arrival statement that what motivates him most is winning and continuing to grow, and that the effort everyone made to bring him to Miami means a lot. He is under contract through the 2027 MLS season, with an option extending to June 2029 pending his visa. Once cleared, he will be training at Chase Stadium in Fort Lauderdale. The signing is real. The probe is real. Both things are happening at the same time, which is a sentence that would require several paragraphs of explanation to a European football fan and approximately zero to anyone who has ever dealt with American paperwork. Inter Miami are second in the Eastern Conference as of late July, defending their MLS Cup title with Messi, Busquets, Suarez, Jordi Alba, and now Casemiro. They face Chicago Fire on July 22nd, Montreal on the 25th, and Columbus Crew on August 1st. Every one of those games will be played while the investigation stays open. Every point they collect could theoretically be under review. And David Beckham will be in the stands watching his club, named in a complaint filed by his old club, built on a rule named after himself, add one of the most decorated players in Champions League history to a roster that may or may not be penalized for adding him. The investigation continues. The settlement terms are sealed. And somewhere in Miami, Casemiro is waiting on a visa to start training. European football has never had a transfer story quite like this. Then again, it has never had a discovery list either.